What is the roadmap to defeat self-sabotage, negative thinking, and learned helplessness? In these unprecedented times, you must get connected, get growing, get certain, and get attitude. The Get Attitude Podcast. And welcome to the GAP, the Get Attitude Podcast. And man, oh man, do we have a great guest for you today. We are live, so please remember to like and share us because we have a guest that I know is going to inspire you, that has a fantastic personal story, and that I know is going to help you get attitude. As you guys all know, my name's Glenn Bill, international best-selling author, podcast host, and founder of the University of Attitude. Hopefully you've checked out our book, The ABCs of Attitude, enjoyed that. And we are going to bring up a guy who's a personal friend of mine, but I'm also a customer of his. So many of you go, Glenn, how in the world do you do what you do? How do you spread so much content? Well, I can tell you, the guy that you're going to meet is behind the content that I spread. He does all of my stories, all of my squares. He does all of my micro content. We got to mention Holly because that's really who's doing it. But it's because of him that you see me every single day on what's going with the Get Attitude podcast. And the amazing story about this gentleman is that he just started this business like a year ago. And so when we talk about getting attitude, we're going to hear his story about where he was, what he was doing, what caused him to say, you know what, I think I need a change in direction. And you know what, Gappers? My guess is some of you are going, I don't like where I am. I think there's more to what I can be doing. I can create more impact. And you know what? We're going to talk to this gentleman. His name is Kyle Draper. You can find him at kyledraper.com. He has a coaching program called The Collaborative. He has a company called Content Compounding. He's got a private group called the Social Media Mindset. This guy is literally on fire. He's speaking all over the country right now, helping real estate agents and loan originators connect and build their business on social media. And he's seriously one of the biggest influencers that I know in this business. I've attached to him, and he's helped me, and he's helped this podcast grow. So, hey, man, and he's a Dallas Cowboy fan, which I got no problem with. And so without further ado, I want to introduce you to my good friend out of Dallas, Texas, Mr. Kyle Draper. Kyle, welcome to the Get Attitude Podcast.
GB, you have no idea how excited I am. As you said, I have edited so many of these episodes with mainly Holly, but I've watched them and I've pulled quotes. And so to think that I have done something to make me worthy of being a guest, somebody needs to pinch me right now, because I just can't believe it. Thank you so much for having me.
Good. Well, you know, the purpose of the Get Attitude podcast is to help people get from where they are to where they want to go, and from who they are to who they want to become. And you've been an integral part of what we do and of our movement. And so that's why you're here, because I look to you. I follow you. I hope all you guys follow Kyle, because he's strategic, he's good, he's innovative, and he's an influencer. And season 2 of the Get Attitude podcast is about people who are influencers and innovators, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But let's just go ahead, Kyle, and start with your definition of attitude. And who was your first attitude coach?
I think my definition of attitude would just be the way we choose to take on each day. Mm-hmm. Right? I think the beauty of attitude is we can reset it as often as we need to. Right? There's really no such switch as like the automatic version of attitude. It's a constant rechecking, right? And I know, you know, the evil one, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is always trying to get our attitude to suck. And so that's what makes what you do so valuable. And man, my parents really served as my first attitude coaches, because they have a really cool story, and it was full of a lot of issues and downfalls, and they always had the way of picking themselves back up and really caring about other people more than they cared about themselves. And so, man, that's just something that from when I was young, it's just always been ingrained in me. And so I don't think there's anything more valuable than having the ability to check our attitude and knowing that we're in complete control of it.
I love it.
And so it's powerful.
I think what's so powerful about what you said is, and I think like everybody listening right now should think about this. Every hour when the clock strikes 0 to say, okay, I'm just going to check my attitude and start again. Who's to say that you cannot reset your day every single hour? I mean, can you imagine how powerful, instead of being down and depressed and pissed off, man, just every hour, just reset your day and say, you know what, that was a negative hour. That's cool, but I'm going. So I love that, Kyle. That's so good.
Can I share a quote with you real fast?
Yes, sir.
So I just posted this on Instagram yesterday. John Maxwell says, the greatest day in your life is when you take total responsibility for your attitudes. That's the day you truly grow up.
I love it. I love it. And you are a John Maxwell leader and speaker. Is that correct? Were you certified with him?
Yep.
Talk to me a little bit. He's so great. I get his 1 minute Maxwell's every day. Tell me, what was it like to meet John? What was that process like? And what was maybe the one or two greatest things that you got out of becoming a John Maxwell speaker and coach?
Well, I've been blessed. So John Maxwell is actually a friend of my grandfather's. And so I've been in the room with them on multiple occasions.
Oh my gosh.
And so I've had maybe a little closer look than some have. And so going to that event, man, that event is expensive. And so you are bought in when you choose to make that decision. But I think the coolest part for me, what I learned is that attitude is a universal language.
Yes.
Because there were probably 3,000 people at this event from probably 50 different countries. And so everyone looks different. Everyone has a different tone in their voice, but we're all there because we believe that we can make an impact in people's lives. And it starts with learning how to have the right attitude.
Yeah.
And so that was just what was really cool with me. For me is just knowing that, GB, there's other men and women out there like us.
Sure. That
truly believe they can make a difference. They just may not know how. And so that was such a huge takeaway for me.
So when you said it costs a lot, and I've done it, I've written the $10,000 checks or whatever. I don't know what it is. If you feel comfortable telling me, but it's interesting the attitude it takes to say this. I'm going to write a check to Tony Robbins or John Maxwell or Darren Hardy. I've written them. How did you get yourself? I don't know that you were a rich guy when you did it. How'd you get yourself? What was the attitude it took to say, I'm going to go ahead and write this big check and go to one of these guys? And if you would, I'd love to know, was it 10 grand, a little more, a little less?
It was 5.
That's a lot of money.
And I'm not rich. I definitely didn't have as much money as I have right now back then. And I just knew, I think, GB, we love to spend money on stuff, but we rarely spend money on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just really felt like for me to do what I wanted to do, I needed it to hurt.
Yeah.
Right. I think when pain is involved, it's a little bit better to allow it to become permanent.
I love it.
And so it's, when somebody's like, hey, there's a free event, want to go? Man, can life change happen at a free event? Of course it can. But when there's no skin in the game, there's no real reason for me to change.
Right.
And so I wanted to cut that check because I didn't want to just go on a 3-day vacation. I wanted to go on a 3-day work trip where I was going to bust my butt to get better, because there's people out there hurting that need somebody like me, that need somebody like you in their life. And so I thought it was worth it.
Yeah, that's so cool, and it's so true, right? Gappers, I guess the question that I have for you is, what kind of pain and what kind of investment are you willing to make in yourself daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annually? And if you look back and you're sitting there going, man, I really want to bridge the gap from who I am to who I want to become. If there's no investment, it could be of time, but certainly in the investment of money, I think accelerates the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your business now. We mentioned a lot of that at the top of the show. Tell us what you do and what just sets your heart on fire, and why have you just risen to the top so fast?
I don't know. I wish I could tell you exactly why. GB, this is all I know is like God wired me to leave people better than I find them. That's my motto in life. That is what I'm striving to do. Whether that's as simple as I get to hold the door open for you at the convenience store and smile at you, or I get to be on a podcast and encourage people that way. I'm just always trying to be the encourager to somebody. And so, my kind of unique story is now people call me a social media expert. It's super weird because that's not what I really consider myself to be. I really feel like I'm more of a people expert that's just figured out how to use being an expert of people on social media. And so I'm a storyteller. I'm a relationship guy that really just looked up and felt like in the real estate world, we teach people to use social media very poorly. And there was a huge gap for me to step in and go, guys, there's a better way. We can go out there serving people with no strings attached, with the desire to help. And whether it's the law of reciprocity, we reap what we sow, whatever, karma, whatever somebody wants to call it, we're going to get it back tenfold in return. And so I have a company that you're a part of that is called Content Compounding, where we create content for people. I travel and speak as a part of that company on social media and leadership and marketing and all that fun stuff. And then I have my coaching group that I just fired up earlier this year, where I walk people through the mindset piece of social media, because this is where we struggle. This is why you're necessary, because attitude's about mindset. And until we fix the mindset, the attitude doesn't matter, because it will always keep going away without the proper structure to keep it where we want it to be. And so, man, this is, I get to spend every waking moment of my life encouraging people to be better today than they were yesterday. And man, that's what it's all about for me.
So I know that you're specific to real estate and mortgage.
Correct.
But look at we're live and we got salespeople all over, I'm sure, signing in. And do we have the board up, Jason, just in the event somebody's popping in or not? I just wanted to know. Maybe nobody's.
It is up.
Maybe nobody's watching this live right now. I don't know, but I can't imagine that.
I mean, I'm not your most physically attractive guest that you've had, so they might, see my ugly mug and just keep scrolling.
Yeah, we got our peeps. It's all good. So
their hands are too busy taking notes.
Right.
They're scrambling to take notes.
Go. So and this will be broadcast obviously in the next couple of weeks. But so I think the message is same, whether you're real estate or mortgage, or if you're selling insurance, widgets, financial planning, whatever. What is the social media mindset that people in this wonderful world of sales or customer service, but mostly it's sales, should be tapping into? What is it?
GB, it's the thought of we've taught salespeople how to sell. And then we've directed them to social media and told them, now you know how to sell, you can go sell there. That's Facebook, go sell there. That's Instagram, go sell there. That's YouTube, that's TikTok, whatever, go sell there. And what we've done is we've taken hardcore salespeople and dropped them into relational incubators. And it breaks, because social media was designed to be social, not designed to be sold to. And so the social media mindset is, if you want to hardcore sell people, there's plenty of ways to do that. Go knock doors, go call people, right? Like there's plenty of ways to sell. Social media should be a place where we nurture and where we try to treat it for the next referral, not the next transaction.
Right.
And so what I'm trying to instill in people is, man, lead with value, not your sales pitch.
Right.
Get deep into the minds of the people you want to serve. Understand where they're struggling, where they're at, the questions they have, and then allow your social media to be full of you answering those questions, of you telling stories of people that once were there and now are here because you were able to guide them across that bridge, through that gap. And that's what it's about. And I really think that's why I've risen to the top as quickly as I have, Glenn, because none of this is about me.
Right.
Right. It's all about helping other people. And man, as I raise the ships of everybody else, that leaves a pretty sweet wake for me to just kind of surf into.
So let's talk about Kyle Draper 10 years ago. Like, who was that guy? What was he doing? And did you know in your heart, man, I don't think this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
Gosh, this is a great question. So 10 years ago, I was a youth pastor in Plano, Texas, making pennies on the dollar, just committed to church ministry, right? That at the time I was a 5th generation pastor. And so that's what I thought I was going to do forever, was just be a pastor inside the church. And GB, one day I woke up and I thought, man, this sucks. This is not what I signed up for. You know, I would have coffee with people, and because they knew I was a pastor, they weren't cussing around me if they cussed. They weren't telling me about the party they were at the night before if they'd been at a party. Like, I was getting a very phony version of people because of my title. And so I was a very naive 28-year-old that was having this weird moment of like, oh my gosh, is this not what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? And, you know, God's funny the way he works and orchestrates things. And one day I just realized that I think I could make a greater impact in people's lives as a business person with the heart of a pastor than I could physically being a pastor inside the walls of the church. And so literally 10 years ago, I was planning my escape from the local church scene as a pastor to what ended up being jumping into the roofing industry with my dad and my brother.
Wow.
So I went from being a pastor to a roofer.
Wow. And then were you selling roofs, or were you slamming roofs and tearing them off? So I was not putting the roof on or taking the roof off. I was selling roofs. But for anybody that knows anything about roofing, if you sell roofs, that means you also climb them. Yes.
And so for those of you that can't tell, people tell me I'm way taller than they thought I would be. I'm 6'3", 300 pounds. And so my big old body up on people's roofs was, I'm sure, a huge opportunity for people to find some humor in their day. I think I did more damage to roofs than I did assess the damage. But that's really, Glenn, that's where I learned how to sell. That's where I learned the power of social media, the power of relationship, the power of video. And so I am so thankful for that 2.5-year season as a roofer, because, man, it taught me everything that I know today that I'm now applying to help others.
And so what was the attitude? What was the mindset where you had to say to your dad and your brother, I'm out of here, I'm going to start my own business? I mean, the bottom line is this. There are people listening right now that are saying, I should start my own business. I should, you know what, I'm done. I'm not going to be a pastor. I ain't going to be a roofer. How did you get the courage? How did you get the mindset? How did you get the motivation to do it? What would you tell the gapper that's listening right now? Here's the bridge. Here's how you bridge it to go into your own thing. Tell me what that was like for you.
what I would love the gappers to get right here in this moment is to just think about this one phrase. What if it works? Right? We get so caught up in, well, it's not going to work because of this, this, and this, and it's not going to work because it didn't work for him and it didn't work for her. And we get so good at having all the excuses that if we're not careful, all of our friends and family will validate, and we'll end up having all these grandiose ideas, yet follow through on none of them. And so I just had this thought of like, but what if it works? Like, what if it works? And then the other thought was, am I going to look back 10 years from now and go, God, what could have happened if I would have actually done what I wanted to do and have an uncomfortable conversation with my family, right? Asking for their blessing to do something different and go for it.
Yeah.
And so that was it, because GB, my wife is the greatest woman on the planet, but she thought she was marrying a pastor. Right? She thought she was marrying a pastor that would make X amount of dollars for his entire life, right? We would be in ministry for 50 years. And so she was not ready for that jump to entrepreneurialism.
Wow.
She wasn't ready for that grind. She wasn't ready for the empty promises of, man, I just talked to so-and-so and they said that they're going to buy this and they're going to do, and then we're going to be on this trip and we're going to, and just failure after failure after failure. And so, man, it has taken serious attitude adjustment every single day.
Yeah.
Because at times the people closest to me have thought, man, maybe this isn't what you're cut out for. Maybe it's not going to work. And so, man, that's hard when you got to wake up and at times feel like you're the only one in your corner in moments.
Right. So,
but what if it works?
Yeah, that's so good. How did she manage that? How did you manage that relationship? Because look, this is real, right? You're not the only guy that's done this or switched. What was your secret to keep, her in? I know that she's an amazing woman, but what's your advice to the people that are going through this? Wife's looking at you like, are you nuts? Because it's happening. On my previous podcast, there is a revolution going on in employment right now. And there's a lot of couples that are facing it. So just a 30,000 view, how did you guys work through that in your relationship? And then secondly, I know you kept saying, what if it works? What if it works? I've been there. You failed a lot. You didn't get to the top because it was all perfect. You failed a lot. So how did you get, number one, tell me about the relationship piece. Number two, the failure piece. How did you get through failure?
So the first piece is, and man, this is huge, and I know you believe the same way. Marriage is a covenant, right? I think so many people treat marriage just so complacently and just like, well, if it doesn't work, we can always find other people. Man, that's not how it rolls in the Draper house. We are in a covenant relationship.
Nice.
And I say that because that thought process allowed my wife to just say, I am with you living in a gutter or living in a house.
Nice.
Right? And so even though she didn't always understand what I was trying to do, she always believed in who I was and refused to falter from that. And that's all her. I have nothing to do with that. So my advice is find better spouses if you can't say that about yours.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because I just happen to be able to say that about mine. Mm-hmm. And so that really was it. The other part of that, GB, was I had to find my willingness to know I didn't know everything. And to even be willing to wave the white flag of surrender and pivot when it was time, and not just bury something into the ground because I refused to admit any fault, and it wasn't my fault, it was everybody else's fault. And so that was a big piece of the attitude adjustment that I needed, was to really recognize, yes, I failed at that, but here's what I learned, and here's how I'm going to do the next thing better. And here I am now doing the next thing better. And hopefully the next thing is going to be even better than this, because I keep this willingness of, I don't know everything. I'm not God's gift to this stuff. I'm learning and growing, hopefully at even a faster rate than other people are.
Sure.
Because I'm willing to admit my faults and then get better.
What are the 3 biggest attitude mistakes that people have when it comes to social media?
So golly, 3. I could give you 1,000.
I want to keep it easy for you.
One would just be that we don't think people care. Right? I mean, who are we? We're normal people that happen to be good at our jobs, but I'm not Dak Prescott. Right? I'm not the quarterback of America's team. I'm not the president. I'm just a guy. And so I think we struggle to really think, like, why does anybody care what I ate for lunch today?
Right.
Because we live in a weird world where people actually care, and so I think that's one attitude. I think the second attitude is just this attitude of instant gratification. And we get so caught up in how many views does this episode have? Oh man, that's less than last episode. We suck. What are we doing wrong? Like, no. Let's just hunker down. Like, let's believe in what we're doing and let's put in 100 episodes before we turn around and see a little bit of smoke and just assume we need to can this whole thing. And on social media, man, people get so frustrated. They do one video and they're like, well, nothing happened. Okay. Like, your baby didn't walk on day 1 of learning how to walk. Do we just throw the towel in and go, well, I guess they're just never walking? No, we've got to give opportunity and time for the process to take course. And so that is, I think, a really big struggle on social media. And then the third one, which may be the biggest one, is we lie to ourselves and we've convinced ourselves we care about others, but we care about ourselves more. And so we let our fear of failure matter more than someone else's opportunity for success.
Wow.
And it stops us in our tracks, because instead of doing the video because I want to help you, I stop at, but I feel fat today. Or, man, look at that. That wrinkle's bigger on my forehead than it used to be. And, oh man, but my spouse criticized my last video, so I don't want to do the next one. And we let our issues be more important than the opportunity we have to help other people.
And I think the other thing is, my competitor just did a killer video, and I don't want to look dumb, right? I mean, so many people are worried about looking stupid. So when you think, there's a lot of negativity out there on social media. I mean, not like it, but about it, right? So there is a shame factor that goes on with. Okay, and this gets into, there are people that are personal social media people and business social media people. And then what you trying to do is show people how to merge them so it works. But I do believe that I see people that are all business. I see people that are all social. And I think the business people go, you don't understand. I'm not doing social. I don't need to. And the social people go, I would never put my business on there. It's tacky. How do you walk that fence? Or what's your, I don't know, when you step back, this is where you live, man. So it's like that paradox, I guess, or that juxtaposition is out there. Like, what's your interpretation of that between personal, business, and both?
So first of all, I think we have to come to agreement that what I say I'm not speaking truth.
Right.
I'm speaking perspective. So I know that there's going to be uber professional people that may not vibe with what I teach, and I'm cool with that. And there's people on the other side that may not fully vibe with what I teach. But I created, GB, a word that I call Rawfessional.
I love it.
Right?
That is so good.
It's the combination of being professional yet adding a raw element to what you're doing. And so, for example, if I can I use you as an example, because I know you well enough to do it?
Sure.
So you are uber professional, right? You always have a good looking sports coat on with a cool pocket square. And, when you show up on camera, you show up, right? People know who you are, what you represent. And so you do that at an extremely high level. What I would love to see added to your weaponry is the day after the podcast, you jump on Facebook Live for 5 minutes from your back porch in a t-shirt on, drinking your coffee, reflecting on all the nuggets that the guest gave you the day before, and just talking about, guys, I can't wait for y'all to hear this episode that we just did yesterday with Les Brown, that we just did yesterday with whoever it was. And man, when they said this,
right,
it just got my mind going here and here and here. And so I just wanted to encourage you guys not only to listen to it when it comes out, but here's something you could do right now before you even get to hear it. And that's what I would call Rawfessional.
That's awesome.
Right? You're not dressed up, but people already see you in that light all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is just a little bit rawer of a moment.
Right.
I accomplish this through, like, if I'm out taking a walk, that's oftentimes when I do my best thinking. And so I don't want to wait, go shower, do my hair, put my nice clothes on, and then lose the moment of the passion.
Yeah.
I'd rather be out of breath, sweating, and just able to say, like, guys, I know I'm sweating right now, but man, this thought just hit me during my walk, and I wanted to share it with you guys. There's nothing unprofessional about that, because that's what I'm supposed to look like while I'm walking. Now, if I'm about to walk on stage at an event and I'm in a tank top and a backwards hat, now you might be going, whoa, man, what? You shouldn't be wearing that right now. You are about to walk on stage.
Right.
And so if we can tap into that Rawfessional moment, right? You're out with, I know you love your kids and you spend a lot of time with them. Like, you're out to dinner with one of your sons. And you post a picture and go, man, I love getting to have conversations with my son about this. That's a Rawfessional moment.
Yes.
And I think that's what we need more of as an industry, because I think if we're not careful, we focus too much on trying to impress people instead of trying to relate to them.
Yeah.
And people don't buy from people they're impressed by. They buy from people they're relatable to.
Yeah. That's cool. My wife refuses to be on social media, but anytime I post her photo, we get like 400 likes or more.
Heck yeah,
crazy,
of course
right?
you do.
She's like, see, it's because of me. I said, you're damn right it is, because you're better looking than me, too.
That's right.
Let's talk about your perspective. I want to, and just, give me your perspective on. We're gonna go Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. So perspective on Facebook. What's going on? Best place for realtors, as opposed to the other ones. I just like want your perspective on the platform, what people should be doing on the platform, what you see as the platform being, and maybe the opportunity there. So we'll start with Facebook.
So I personally feel like Facebook is the easiest point of entry, because it's 100% based in our friends, right? On Instagram, you have followers, which means if you're doing a good job, you're attracting people that you don't know. So that can affect your psyche. That can affect the way you show up, because you're like, I don't know them. But on Facebook, man, I could show up with a hat on. I could show up without a hat, with bedhead, and those are my people. Mm-hmm. And so they're not as concerned with me impressing them, because they already know, like, and trust me, right? Also, I really treat Facebook, really all social media, as how old are your ideal people? Right. So if you and I were talking about the gappers, and, what audience do you want more of? What audience do you think loves what you do the most? Well, then we're going to turn those numbers around and go, okay, great. Let's go to this platform, because that's where that age group spends most of their time. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if a realtor listening to this, if they love working with like 40, 50, 60-year-old homeowners, well, naturally, that's a Facebook crowd.
Yeah.
By the numbers, more of that demographic is spending time on Facebook. If we're talking to a realtor that's like, man, I love first-time home buyers. I love walking them through the process. I love how much they need me. That's an Instagram group, right? That age demographic is most prolific on Instagram. Right? LinkedIn is unique to all of it. LinkedIn is really not about an age. LinkedIn is about a history. So what I mean by that is if we've got somebody listening that spent 20 years in corporate America and now they're going to become an entrepreneur and they're going to become a lender or a realtor or start an insurance company, with all that history in the business world, they're going to naturally have a better starting point for LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm talking to a stay-at-home mom that now becomes a realtor, I'm not going to encourage her to go to LinkedIn because she doesn't have that type of relationship built up that would make her relevant there.
Sure.
Right? She'd be better to go to Etsy and have a presence that, and so we've got to be talking in terms of like, where are your people?
Right.
Not necessarily where are you comfortable? Because if you're comfortable in a place where your people aren't, who cares?
Sure. Yeah.
Then the last thing, man, anyone listening, GB, if somebody listening is a trailblazer, if you like being on the edge of things, if you like the opportunity to fail, but also have the opportunity to win the biggest, man, go buy a lottery ticket at a place called TikTok.
Right.
Because it is the greatest unknown of social media. It is the newest platform, right? We are watching people just get unbelievable amounts of eyeballs there, and there's no rhyme or reason for it. Well, and so it is just it's an unbelievably cool platform that forces you to use short form content, right? It forces you to be able to articulate a message in a minute or less. And so I love it.
And so you have been going there hard because, I mean, you are all over TikTok. So let's talk. How do they find you on TikTok? Kyle Draper, boom.
Coach Kyle Draper.
Coach Kyle Draper on TikTok. And how many followers do you got there?
I just hit 1,000 a couple weeks ago, I think.
Okay.
And so,
but you're on TikTok every day.
Almost every day. I've taken a few days off here and there to just give myself some time to breathe. But almost every day.
So, what was your thought? Right? Why? Because it really seems to me as I follow you and watch you that you are kind of favoring TikTok. So, what's your thought there?
Well, so the reason, GB, that I'm favoring it right now is honestly for the last 2 years, I crapped all over TikTok, and just it's stupid. It's a bunch of teenagers, right? Like it serves no value for the real estate community. And I just woke up a few months ago and was like, I suck as a coach. If I am crapping on something that I have never personally experienced, I am doing a disservice to the people I serve.
Right.
And so I decided about 81-ish days ago that I'm going to go all in on TikTok for 90 days. I'm going to do a video a day for 90 days. I'm going to see what happens. I'm not going to look back and look at numbers and statistics. I'm just going to go hard for 90 days and see what happens. And, man, the rest is history. Like I fell in love with every aspect of the platform. I love the way, my company that we serve your business with, Content Compounding, dude, TikTok literally gives us minute-long pieces of content that can instantly be repurposed everywhere else.
Wow.
So you're not seeing my TikToks on TikTok. You're seeing my TikToks on Facebook. You're seeing my TikToks in my stories.
Yes.
You're seeing my TikToks in my reels on Instagram.
Right.
And so because of my commitment to just making little bitty short 1-minute videos, I'm now mass producing it in a bunch of other places.
Yeah. Wow.
And then another thing, spoiler alert, we've been testing TikTok inside of content compounding with one client. And so we've started posting all of his videos to TikTok.
Right.
And he's already getting videos that are having like 200 views on them.
Yeah.
And he has like 11 followers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy. So we'll put you on TikTok too.
Yeah,
if you're ready to jump on that train.
We can put all our micros on there.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. And our producer Jason here, he's liking the Twitch thing. What's your thought on Twitch? You got any thoughts for
I don't
Jason?
really know. I've never done Twitch. It feels like, Twitch is really more for like a stationary streaming opportunity. So it's a lot of gamers, right? It's a lot of like my favorite sports radio show, they have a Twitch account, right? So it's cool to be able to watch the guys you're used to listening to on the radio. I haven't personally figured out like how Twitch would impact me or you or a realtor.
Right.
But
Jason's he'll call you up and you guys can talk Twitch. Jason loves it.
I would love it. I just don't know that platform.
He's doing some cool stuff with it. Yeah.
Any opportunity we have to put ourselves on camera, it's going to make an impact in what we do, because they're predicting now, and this number is crazy, that 1 minute so let me back up. Remember when Instagram started? And we used to use the saying, right? A picture's worth
1,000 words.
1,000 words, right? So we were like, oh my gosh, Instagram. We're going to be able to use pictures. It's worth 1,000 words. It's unbelievable. Well, now, Glenn, they are saying that 1 minute of video. So think about how long your podcasts are.
Yeah.
1 minute of video is equivalent to you saying 1.8 million words.
Yeah. Insane. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so Twitch, TikTok, Facebook Live, StreamYard, whatever it is, we've got to be present on video if we want to be relevant to people in the day and age that we are.
Do you think Facebook should just shut down 1 day a week?
Man, that was an interesting day, wasn't it?
That was, yeah. And I was just like, man, just think. I just wonder if like that would be if that would be a hack, if they said, look at Facebook shut down every Sunday. I mean, can you imagine the users on Monday at 12:01 a.m.? I mean, I wonder about that. If all social media was just done on a Sunday, it's over.
It would. I think our world would probably be a better place because of it.
Yeah, I do not doubt it. So, Kyle, I'm not going to do Knowledge Through the Decades with you unless you're dying to do it. I'd love to do it with you.
I've already been thinking through my answers for that.
I had to.
So I'm ready.
Okay, we're going to do Knowledge Through the Decades with you.
Okay.
I want to know the attitude lesson of a newborn baby.
So I think the attitude lesson as the newborn is just wonder. Right? I think we could all benefit from going back to those moments in our lives where we truly were just full of wonder.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't have preconceived ideas of who you are or what you think about me. We just truly wanted to touch everything, taste everything, just take it all in, because that's the inquisitive baby that we were.
Yeah, that's so cool. Great answer. Haven't heard that one. Way to go. He's gonna be original, Jason. He's heard all these.
Dude, I've had a chance to study.
I know. All right. I want you to think about when you were 10 years old. I want to know if you remember your teacher's name, what school were you in, and what happened at 10 that changed your attitude or was the attitude lesson?
So when I was 10, that would have made me, fourth or fifth grade?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was at Colleyville Elementary School with Miss Cawley, and I think what I remember most about 10 is that was the year that I passed my mom in height.
Oh my God!
And man, I just thought I was so cool because I got taller than my mom.
I love it.
And man, what a rude awakening to understanding and realizing that how tall I was had absolutely nothing to do with my ability to be cool or successful.
Amen.
And so that was a hard learning opportunity.
Yeah. So let's go to 20. When you were 20, what was going on with you? Were you in college or were you on the pulpit?
I was still in college. I hadn't started pastoring yet. And man, 20 was one of the worst years of my life. I was at TCU in Fort Worth, Texas, going to school. And I'd realized like I'd had a rotator cuff injury my senior year in high school. And so in that season, I was realizing that I was never going to play sports again. I was realizing all these insecurities that I had about myself. And man, I turned into a straight up hermit crab at 20 years old. I had I didn't meet new people. Like it was the weirdest season of my life because it's so anti of what people know me to be.
Sure.
And it was awful. It was the darkest season for me because I'd built a lot of my reputation on what other people's reputations were.
Right.
And when they all scattered and went their own way, I was left to have to be okay with me, and I wasn't.
Right.
And so that was a rough season of life for me.
And sometimes that attitude lesson can happen at 30, 40, 50, or 60, right? Where
100%.
You've built this life, you've built this image, you've built this persona, you've built it all on social media. And then, well, I think about John Gruden, right? He's probably feeling that right now.
Yep.
Right? I mean, you talk about a guy that's going to be alone. That's going to be him. Now, you know, what he did, obviously not good. But then I think about, people that make mistakes. Certainly he's not the only one.
Yeah.
But to be abandoned, whether you prescribe it or it's given to you, not an easy thing to do.
Nope.
Talk to me about age 30. What were you doing at 30?
So at 30, I had just resigned at the church.
Yes.
And decided to go into roofing, but also move my wife and one child at the time that was 6 months old to Oklahoma from Texas.
Wow.
And so I knew nothing. And here was my attitude lesson. If you don't have clarity on where you're going, you'll go everywhere. And I found myself like I spent so much time at our new church.
That's really good.
Because I was uncomfortable working. I didn't know how to be a roofer. I didn't know how to knock doors. All of that was uncomfortable for me. And so I spent all of my time at our church hiding because that was safe, but I was volunteering at our church, man. I'm a great person.
Right.
But I was neglecting earning and living for my family because it was uncomfortable. And so that was my lesson at 30.
I love it. You're not 40 yet, are you?
I'm 38. I'll be 39 next month.
All right. Well, I can't do 40 with you then. So what we're going to do.
I know.
Hey, that was beautiful, though. Those great answers, Kyle. This
Thank
was
you.
a ton of fun. You dropped some bombs. You gave us a lot to think about. You helped our business people, entrepreneurs, and salespeople really, I think, get some thoughts about social media. And if you guys need a social media coach and you want to incorporate social media, you need to go to kyledraper.com. You need to check out his course called, what is it again? The Collaborative.
Yeah.
And I think it will help your game. I know that I get lots of compliments. I get lots of insults because of my social media game because we're everywhere. But I try to say, guys, I got people working on it for me. Kyle, to end the show, we always like you to just give, it's time to become Pastor Kyle again. How about a message of hope for our gappers and this just an extraordinary time in our country and in our history. What's your message of hope for our gappers and what can you give them?
GP, it's simple. It is simply this, that for everybody listening, you are doing better than you think you are. That there will never be a more harsh critic than the way you treat and talk to yourself.
Wow.
And so if you are feeling just the lowest of the low, look around you and reconsider the people you're spending the most time with, because those should be people that are encouraging you and lifting you up, not discouraging you and pulling you down. And so none of you are doing as bad as you think you are. I guarantee it.
I love it. I love it. Spoken from the master of social media, Mr. Kyle Draper. Kyle, thank you for all you do for us. Thank you from the Get Attitude podcast for being our partner in business and in podcasting. And thank you for all you do for us. Thank you from the Get Attitude.
Thanks, GB. It's been an honor to be here.
You got it, buddy. This is Glenn Bill signing off for the Get Attitude podcast with the one and only Kyle Draper.